And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday, another edition of Chat Canna. Everything about hemp. That's what we talk about here, and we're happy to have you with us this morning. A couple of days before Christmas, 2020, the most unusual year. What do they say with the Christmas song? It's the most wonderful time of the year. It is the most unusual year I've lived through in my life. I'm sure that for many of you, but for those of us that are a little bit more elder, I guess you can talk about other years. I know if my dad was still alive, his stories of World War II and his experience first didn't get drafted directly. The draft board called out to the family farm or sent a message out. They didn't have phones yet, that they needed a volunteer. There was 8 boys in the family. And he was kind of the next one in line and felt that it was his responsibility to decide that he was the one to go. But he had just been married, so he went and talked to them and asked them if he could have a little time. And he was hoping for 60 or 90 days, and instead they gave him a year. But then when that year was up, he went and reported and ended up because of his sophisticated ability to do math, ended up in machinist school, mechanics school, and ended up in charge of the crew that's in charge of maintaining an airplane, and then went to England, and then when Hitler fell and they took over Germany, ended up in Germany. And did not tell a lot of stories. The most stories that we actually heard was when I had a foreign exchange student here from Germany in 1995 and 96, 94, 95. And in the spring of 95, he had to do a report. And as a report, he chose to interview my father. And they sat down. There's a tape of that around here somewhere, but you can actually, if you want it, I'll give you the link on the internet. And you can read the transcript of that, and it's amazing. My mom was sitting in the kitchen listening, and every once in a while she'd go, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'd never heard that. As my dad opened up to Henry Forrester, talking about his experiences during the war and in Germany right after the war. So, interesting times we are going through. But today's show is about hemp, and I've got a couple of stories for you that I thought were rather interesting. And they are relevant to us wherever you are farming and raising hemp or thinking about farming, raising hemp. And the first one is if you should happen to be using CBD on your racehorses. And the short answer for that is don't. Stop. The California Horse Racing Board, which of course they kind of lead the way for horse racing all around the United States. As they say, so it shall be done. And they have come out with really strong, bad tidings of bad joy. For under you is a decree. If they catch you administering CBD by test to your racehorses, 1 to 3 years of suspension and $10,000 to $25,000 of fines and forfeiture of your winnings. And they say that is way, way beyond any kind of punishment for other similar kinds of things. And the reason they're doing this is that they do not know what CBD does to a horse yet. Trainers are saying that they believe that CBD is great for inflammation on a horse. It helps with digestive tract conditions. It helps with anxiety. So that's what they've been using CBD for on a horse. Not too much different than people, right? But the racing board says, no, you cannot do that. You will not be doing that. And if we catch you doing that, and of course, easy tests to find out, they take the sample of the blood after a winning race. They have set penalties that are beyond measure, actually. People are saying, okay, you're doing this, but why the just egregious and high penalties for this? So here we are. Veterinarians are saying one of the reasons is because we have not done cross species testing and training on what these things do. In other words, they're saying something that might be easy, calming, and have no effect on how a human might run in a race. We don't know what that might do to a mouse or a horse. Makes sense. But those are the rules that have come out today. And the U.S. Equestrian Federation prohibits CBD. I'm not dyslexic. No, I'm not. Suggesting the compound is likely to affect the performance of horses due to its reported anti-anxiety effects. Horse is calmer. Horse isn't scared. Horse runs better. Horse wins race. That's a enhancement to the race. You lose. You win the race. You lose the bet because we found CBD in the horse, and you lose big time. So that's where it is. You cannot now use CBD on your racehorses. I'm sure they're going to now start finding out how long it's in the body, right? How long. They'll start doing that right away. They'll take horses that are not racing and they will start injecting them with CBD, and they will find out how long it shows up in the tests. Because I'm sure they will still use it for the horses, for inflammation and anxiety. And of course, if their tummies are a little upset one day, knowing that they don't race for X number of days and that they will be confident that on race day, when they draw the blood, the CBD won't show up in it. It's all a game. And but it's interesting that now they are giving weight to the fact that there is something to CBD helping a mammal's body, in this case a horse. So obviously that sure should carry some weight over to people. Now we just have to be proving that with double-blind studies done by respected universities rather than some guy out in his garage. These are coming. They're going to be proving it. We know it. It's just a matter of having these kind of proofs. So in a way, this is really good news. Not necessarily good news for horse trainers right now today, but in the long run, it will be very, very good news. So I'm happy about it. That's where it is, and that's a good thing. Now for the big story for today. Tell me what you think about this. Hemp is legal. You get a license, both from the federal government, passed on through your state where you're in. I'm in Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Agriculture licenses me to grow hemp by location, by acreage. I also do tell them what varieties I raise, but I have free choice in that. But they tell me that I can. I have a document that says that I can. North Dakota, much the same. Anywhere around the United States, that is a license given to you by the state, decreed by the federal government. Now, all of a sudden, out in California, California people, Contra Costa County, in November, put in a moratorium in their county saying you can't grow hemp. The Board of Supervisors last week, first it was 45 days in November. Well, for these outdoor guys, not really a big deal. It's not happening right now. But now they have extended it, and they are thinking they're going to extend it way into next year, 2021, like maybe to October of 21, literally wiping out the 21 season. Why, you ask? Well, some of the neighbors have been complaining that they don't like the smell. And some of the neighbors are saying, well, you can hide marijuana in it. Well, you can hide marijuana in your garden. But this is a case of what I call FAS. Write that down. That is a copyrighted term. FAS, false authority syndrome. And we have this going on in the hemp business so bad. It's just terrible what's happening in the hemp business, where all the players want to get in and be able to have their thumb on everything. the food and hemp was made legal by the president, by the Congress, and all of a sudden the Food and Drug Administration got into the game. And they're saying, well, you have to have it tested at one of our 14 DEA-approved labs. That was never part of the game. All of the different players want to get in and put their stamp of approval on it. False authority syndrome. It's no different than the cop hired by the mall thinks that he's, every part of a cop that there is. They have certain powers and certain rights, which they should have. Traffic, kids that are stealing, things like that. But they don't have the power to hold you if you didn't commit a crime. They don't have the power to go through your personal possessions. They don't have powers that a police officer has, of which I totally respect police officers. But you also know by watching videos and learning the law a little bit better that police officers are not all powerful. And you don't have to answer every question that a police officer asks you. If a police officer comes to your home and says, I want to ask you some questions, you have every right to say, I choose not to answer those questions without my lawyer being in attendance. You are not breaking the law by doing that. You are not going to appear to be a bad person in court by saying that. It is your legal right. If you don't believe me, look up a YouTube video called Don't Talk to the Cops. That guy that's there is a Harvard-trained lawyer, and he is probably giving out the best advice that you can see. And if you don't believe what he's saying, research it. Listen to the policeman that's there giving the rebuttal to what he says. And the one thing he says is, everything he just told you is true. But then he goes on to tell you how he circumvents what the lawyer told you by basically lying to the people that he's interviewing. You don't have to talk to the police without your lawyer in attendance. Plug that into your children's brains. But here what we have is county commissioners deciding that they're not letting farmers, there's apparently 5 reasonably sized ones in their county, in agricultural areas, already predetermined to be agricultural areas, who have licenses, who under this particular supervisors waving their magic wilted wands, not being allowed to raise their hemp crops, licensed by the state of California this year. And by the way, what they mostly raise is what's called nursery stock. They are planting seeds, probably in a high tunnel or a greenhouse, raising them up to maybe this high, planting them out in their fields, and then raising them up to about this high, and then they are selling them. They are selling them all over the West Coast, if not all over the United States, for farmers to buy, like here where the weather's bad. So the minute that we know we don't have a frost, we can put a plant out that's already this high and get a head start on the year, rather than putting them out there as seedlings in the ground and then, hoping they'll start. By the way, my personal experience with that is kind of interesting. We did that. We started some inside, and we started some seeds. That's rain. Either that's rain on my roof or the cat lit a fire on the other side of the building. It's like little pellets of, we have a tin roof on this, and all of a sudden it just started like coming down like rain. Anyway, on the same day, we planted seeds in the ground, June 6th. We planted seeds in the ground, and we planted seedlings that we had raised that were between this high and this high. And do you know that a month later, you couldn't tell which was which? And when it came time to harvest, you couldn't tell the difference. Now that was, see, Ace got worried about it. That was interesting, and maybe that's a one-off year. I don't know how that would be over many years, different weather conditions, different things like that. But the year that we did that, there was absolutely no difference in the ultimate growth of the seeds or the seedlings, and there was no difference in the harvest of the crops. Same variety of plants. So it's interesting. We're going to try that again a couple times. But we did a whole lot of work trying to raise those little seedlings, first in our barn where we have an indoor license, and then, in pots outside for a while in the sun and getting them ready to be outside in the wind and stuff. Because you know what, maybe you don't know, the word's hothouse plant or a hothouse kid even. And what it is those are plants that are raised inside where there's no stress and no wind. So they grow fast and they have no strength in the plant stem where it meets the soil, because they haven't, so you want to put a fan on them that sweeps by so that they grow character, so that they have strength down in the bottom before you put them out in the field. Because these Minnesota winds in the summer are just crazy. This is Ace. He's not actually our cat. He belongs next door. We put him out every day and he's supposed to go home over there, but he ends up over here at night just screaming and hollering to come in. So we have to train him that he does not live here and he's actually not welcome here. We'd like him to go back to his home. Animals take to us over here. We don't know what it is. Hey, have a great day. That's Chat Canna. 2 stories, racehorses, no CBD. And do you think county commissioners should have the right to stop a product that is licensed by the federal government and the state just because they maybe don't like some things about it? Or is it like, by God, I have my license and you don't have the right to stop me? These are questions that need to be answered as we move forward in the business here. I've got to try and balance Ace on one hand and get up here and push the ending of the buttons. We'll see you all tomorrow. Please join us at 10 a.m. for Chat Canna. Looking forward to seeing you then. I'm John Reitmeyer saying, have yourselves a great day.